Oh, hello. Today we're asking the question, could we be getting a new Sisters of Battle Kill Team? And could that be coming in the launch box of the next edition of Kill Team? Now, I know what you're going to be thinking. Phil, this is just a rumour engine. You're going to go off on a mad one about a rumour engine because, to be clear, that's where this image has come from, right? This is, as it says on the bottom, this is a rumour engine. For those of you that aren't familiar, Games Workshop do these they're not black and white. This is obviously a painted piece of plastic that has been turned back to grayscale, right, in Photoshop. And they do these teasers quite frequently. And generally they're not worth remarking upon because it's a little bit of something that could be anything. And, you know, there's a real limit to what you can say about them. Like, look at this, it's a stick, right? But with this one, if you actually read the text around the rumour engine picture, well, I've put the text that's above and below, I've put it on the screen here. So the text above says, "Some say the eyes are the window to the soul, but the only windows we care about are the kind that let you shoot through it without impediment if you're within black of where the cover line crosses the obscuring terrain." That's a Kill Team reference, by the way, and if you don't get it, play more Kill Team. So straight away, you know, it could be nothing, but it could be Warcom trying to tell us this is a Kill Team thing. Even more ironed on, this bit afterwards where it says, "That's looking decidedly gothic, and unless Pontifex Zenestra has felt the sudden urge to dye her hair white and tattoo a fleur-de-lis onto her face, we're in the 41st millennium. That should narrow it down a bit, so give us your best guess over at Facebook, X or Instagram." Right, so they've straight up told us in that last paragraph, right, that this is relating to the Sisters of Battle in 40k. Okay, they've said we're in the 41st millennium, and of course, references to dyeing your hair white and tattooing a fleur-de-lis onto your face is saying in Sisters of Battle, right? So I feel 100% certain that this is a Sisters of Battle related release, right? Now, the presence of that top paragraph making a kind of awkward joke about Kill Team, I think it's reasonable to conclude that this is Kill Team terrain. Now, we're expecting a new set of Kill Team terrain because we're expecting a new edition of Kill Team, and of course, every time we get a new season of Kill Team, we get a new set of terrain, and one of the big problems that Kill Team, and indeed 40k has at the moment, is that you can't buy terrain very easily. Indeed, something that was overlooked when they took away a lot of the Stormcast range recently, they also quietly removed from the store the ability to buy a lot of the, what we would call in the Kill Team community, the Morok terrain, what is confusingly called the Knackman terrain by 40k players, but you know, the landing pad, the bunker, the walls, the tower with the radar dish on, a lot of that stuff was removed from the online store. So there really is very little plastic terrain you can buy set for any of their games in the 41st millennium. So I just feel like this is likely to come out as part of the Kill Team set, right? Given the paragraph at the top there that's talking all about cover lines in Kill Team. I mean, that's a little bit weird. Yeah, it screams to me that this is the terrain for the next edition of Kill Team, but nobody else has done a video on the subject, which is interesting. I've been on holiday for a week. I've not been around. Some videos have gone up, those ones I've recorded previously, which is why in the Balanced Data Slate video that you've probably watched on this channel, I said, oh, there's no MetaWatch article, and then later they put up a MetaWatch article because I'd recorded it in advance of my holiday. No one else has done a video on this, so either all the stuff I'm about to say everyone else thinks is really, really silly, or possibly just nobody reads the text on rumour engine articles. You know, they just click on it, look at the picture, and go, hey, a thing, and then move on with their day. Who knows? So, how do you get from terrain for a team? Just for anybody that needs a little help making the leap in their head. For the first two seasons of Kill Team, certainly, we got terrain in the box, and then we got a themed team that went with that terrain, right? So we got the Octarius terrain with the Orcs, we got the Into the Dark spaceship terrain with the Navy Breachers. So we got a team that was sort of the terrain in the box represented their home field, right? So what I'm suggesting is if we're going to get like, I'm assuming like a ruined shrine world, you know, like loads of Gothic churches and monasteries and temples and things all blown up and stuff, like I'm assuming you get a Sisters of Battle kill team to go alongside that. Now, there are some caveats here, right? So if you look at the latest season, Beta Decima, they kind of have divorced the terrain from the kill teams, both in terms of the box. In the Beta Decima, terrain is in a separate box to the kill teams, included in Salvation, right? And also, you couldn't really say that either the Scouts or the Striking Scorpions felt particularly themed around the terrain this time round. But I don't know, but I'm assuming for an entirely brand new edition, we're going to get a classic sort of big box release with terrain and 2 teams in, because they're going to want to get that big, massive launch box, you know, with a core rulebook in there as well, with whatever the full set of new core tokens are, you know, with whatever barricades, if there are still barricades, with new movement tools and gauges. Like, I assume, just for the very first box of the edition, we're likely to go back to the full kind of big, chunky box with everything in. That's what I'm assuming. Now, it could be. Look, if all this video has told you is that I think that the next edition of Killed, I don't think it's a reach to say that this terrain is going to be for the next edition of Kill Team, right? It could be that they're doing a generic Imperial cityscape. One of the buildings happens to be Sisters themed. They just happen to have shown us part of one of the buildings. But I actually think that terrain being what's coming for the next edition of Kill Team is pretty well nailed on by the prose that was on that article. Okay, the bit of, and therefore we're getting a Sisters team, sure, that's me reaching a little bit, because I'd really like a Sisters team, but I don't think it's 110% unreasonable, okay? I think actually, looking at the examples of Octarius and looking at the example of Into the Dark, it seems to me quite possible there'd be some kind of ecclesiarchy theme team to tie in with this terrain. So let's think about how that might play. Now, if they were going to do a second Sisters of Battle team, right, because we've already got the Novitiates, it could be the case that they took the opportunity to do something a bit closer to the iconic Sisters of Battle. So I talked about this before, and I know I'm going to upset a lot of Tyrannid fans in the comments section. But for a lot of teams that have a team, like Sisters have a team, right? But for a lot of teams that have a team, like when Phobos was the only Space Marine team, there were loads of teams out there that didn't iconically look like that army. And so it felt a bit the same as when Corsairs were the only Eldar team, right? Now, for those other two, for Eldar, they've kind of corrected it. For Space Marines, they've corrected it, right? For Sisters, we don't have anything that actually looks like a generic default Sisters of Battle team, right? And that's something that they could correct, right? And so if you want to just go a bit further with this idea and run with it a little bit, how would that actually work in Kill Team? Because actually, a bespoke team for Sisters of Battle is quite interesting design space, because Sisters are quite interesting because they're unaugmented humans, but they have the war gear and the shooting ability of a Space Marine traditionally, but not the close combat ability. So this is shown quite handily here on the default Sisters of Battle Warrior from the Compendium, okay? So it's a team where the sort of raw innate stats are APL 2, GA1, normal move, normal defense, a 3-up save, right? 8 wounds base. Now, we've had wound inflation since then, so I might even expect Sisters to go up to 9 wounds. I don't think that would be unreasonable, given how many things have 8 wounds, right? And then they've got a bolt gun that hits on 3s, but a gun butt that hits on 4s. That's classic Sisters. Now, I don't know, like, obviously I know there was the big furore with Kazakin going down to hitting on a 4+. Would Sisters still actually have the BS 3+? That's an open question. If you had these plus some kind of, like, I don't imagine they'd have a mechanic as strong as the Novitiates, obviously, because their war gear is so much better than the Novitiates, but they would have to have some kind of mechanic, because, it's a bespoke team. Would you be able to have 10 models? Probably not. But Games Workshop aren't actually that kind of shy about reducing, like, the Scouts have, 8 models, 6 models? Like, there's 8 model teams, there's 6 model teams. We don't have to be, 5 or 10, right? That's not a thing. There's no law supporting 6-man Space Marine kill teams, and yet 6 is the number we've landed on for APL 3. So it could be that they come in as an 8 model team or something like that. I think that's quite possible. Now, some counterpoints here to this idea that it would be an evolution on the core Sisters aesthetic. As this is a launch box of a new edition, we expect them to pull out all the stops and treat us right for a launch box of a new edition. So we expect brand new terrain that we've never seen before, right? And we also expect 2 brand new teams that we've never seen before. And the problem is, this kind of Sisters team that I'm outlining would make perfect sense for the Battle Sisters box, the currently available one, which is actually a really modern, really nice kit, and an upgrade sprue. So how would it look if they're doing something that's totally new and totally bespoke? Maybe it's going to be something else slightly more weird and wonderful instead, that's still Sisters adjacent. It's worth mentioning that the priests and Death Cult Assassins and Crusaders are all still metal/finecast models. And so there's part of me that wonders if Kill Team is, rather than what I prefer them to do, which is like a Celestian squad analog, part of me wonders if the Kill Team is going to be where they decide to do there used to be a unit back when Sisters of Battle was a White Dwarf codex called the Ecclesiarchy Warband, right? Which was basically a priest, okay? And then you could have a mixture of Death Cult Assassins, Crusaders, and also Archoflagellants, right? Now, weirdly, Archoflagellants have a plastic box, but I could kind of see... I should have put this on the slide because it's a much better idea, but there you go. But I could kind of see a team, kind of in the vein of... the Rogue Traders, where they'd be like, here's your priest, right? And you've got to take him. And then you can have, some you can have some Death Cult Assassins and some Crusaders, and maybe the box set would have 5 Crusaders, 5 Death Cult Assassins, and a priest, and then it would do the Phobos things of being like, oh yeah, you can go and buy a box of Archoflagellants, right? You can go and buy a box of Archoflagellants, and you can put in your Archoflagellants. I mean, that would be a really interesting kill team, because it wouldn't be a comms, a medic, a banner fellow, a plasma gun. And if you look at the last Meta Watch video, Elliot kind of hints that in future he wants teams to move, he wants every team to feel really individual. He wants to move away from that cookie cutter kind of layout. So actually, my money's probably, we are going to get a Sisters of Battle theme team, but I actually don't think it will be Sisters of Battle. I think perhaps we're going to get the kind of Ecclesiarchy Weirdos team. I think that could be a really good fit the more I think about it, right? Because let's think about this. How does it tie in with everything else? Here we go. So, we know that Kill Team... So let's just think about dates for a second. Kill Team Termination, right, which is the Genestealer cults and the squats, right, the Halfkin scouts, right, is closely following Nightmare. So, in case you missed this was at the end of one of the Wire preview articles. We've got, at the end of the MetaWatch article, sorry, we've got Night Lords and Mandrakes dropping very soon, closely followed by Hernkin Jaegers and Brood Brothers, closely followed. I genuinely believe that we could see Termination release in late May, right, which would bring everything back on schedule, okay? And a lot of people are like, no, it's going to be 3 months because it's been 3 months and 3 months. No, and they want to bring things back on schedule, right? Bring it out in late May, bring it back on schedule, and a new edition of Kill Team drops on the 31st of August. I've said this before, and people are like, that's too close to Age of Sigmar 4. No, Age of Sigmar could come out on the 6th of July, right? Exactly like it happened 3 years ago, with Age of Sigmar coming out in July and Kill Team coming out at the end of August. It'd be exactly the same way again, right? And I think this would be the ideal time, if my timeline is correct, I think this would be the ideal time to start teasing things via the rumour engine. Now, I have to address a couple more things. I've got no idea how this fits with the Valrak rumours of Kill Team Takes the Skies with the Swooping Hawks, the Vespid and the Jump Pack Scions. Valrak's been doubling down on that recently, not the Vespid, to be fair, he hasn't mentioned that recently at all, but the Swooping Hawks, the Jump Pack Scions, he's doubled down on recently. I can't see it. I really think a new edition of Kill Team has to get back to basics. It has to be an evolution of season 1 play. Like, let me know in the YouTube comments what you think. But I really think a new edition of Kill Team has to be tweaks and evolution to that season 1 open board style play. I don't want another set of gimmicks. I don't want another, like, oh, now we've had corridors. Oh, now we had, like, floating things in sea. Oh, now we're going to have, like, islands in the sky. It seems weird to me. Now, Valrak is often really correct and gets loads of things correct with loads of detail, but he's just as often totally wrong. Remember, he said there was going to be a Kill Team Space Hulk box. It just didn't happen, right? He said there was going to be Terminators and D-Stealers in a Space Hulk, and it was going to be based around Kill Team in some way, and it just didn't happen. Now, all of this would fit in really well if Kill Team's coming in the summer. We've got the Codex Adeptus Sororitas there, coming out in the summer, and also Codex Imperial Agents. Now, I don't know, well, it's redacted, but it's commonly believed to be Codex Imperial Agents. Now, I don't know if the Ecclesiarchy units, that is to say, Death Cult Assassins, Crusaders, Archoflagellants, and Priests and Missionaries will be in Codex Adeptus Sororitas, or whether they'll get shunted over to Codex Imperial Agents, because those particular things, those Ecclesiarchy units, there's no reason they couldn't show up in Imperial Guard army. In fact, Imperial Guard armies have long had priests as one of their unit types as well. It's been like this weird shared unit between the Sisters and the Guard. So I think that there's an even chance that they're moving over to there. But whatever they decided to do, whatever kind of Ecclesiarchy-themed Kill Team they decided to do, they could tie it in with either the Sisters book or the Imperial Agents book as required, right? And so you get that kind of interesting tie-in, like we saw back in the day with the Commandos, where the Codex Orcs dropped with the Commandos data sheet with all these interesting new options, and then eventually the Commandos kit then came out, and it was like, oh yeah, this is that kit that lines up with this data sheet. So that would be pretty cool as well. So let me know what you think, okay, of what I've been saying. Is that likely? Unlikely? It's very possible that I'm gassed up because I want a bespoke Power Armored Sisters Kill Team. I'd also be pretty chuffed with a sort of Ecclesiarchy Warband style Kill Team. Like, an Ecclesiarchy Warband is probably not something I'd actually want to play rules-wise in Kill Team, because I tend to like elite teams, it turns out, right? But it's definitely something I would buy and paint. Because, of course, I love Sisters of Battle in 40k. I've got many thousands of points of those, and it's models that I'd love to see. So, you know, maybe I have gassed myself up a little bit, but this is not nothing. Like, those bits of preamble talking about Kill Team, talking about 40k, is not nothing. So, let me know what you think one way or the other. Am I being silly? It's possible. Or am I on to something? Only time will tell. Okay. If you've enjoyed this video and this random speculation, and indeed, if I'm the first person to draw your attention to the rumour engine, if you'd missed it, if you'd missed the idea that it was coming in the next edition of Kill Team, that Kill Team needed terrain, any of this stuff, if any of this stuff's been useful or interesting to you, consider subscribing. Really helps me out. Trying to get a big subscriber number so that hopefully one day in the far future, Games Workshop might notice me and send me some product to review. That would be lovely. A big thank you to all my members, the people who actually pay money every month to be a member of the channel, who get certain perks like being able to watch the live streams that we do every Wednesday. They can watch them back on demand and no one else can. They also get a funny colour of name in the Discord and access to a private room on the Discord where we talk a bit more openly, a bit more frankly about stuff as well, which is nice. A big thanks to Nightfall and Massive Crit, who are subscribed at the highest tier, and therefore they get a shout out in each and every video. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much. I'll be back on Tuesday when we should have the results from the New Year New Kill Team Hobby Challenge. Yeah, and I'll see you then. Bye bye, bye bye, bye.